This is CRC Motorsport. Great to have you along today. And for those of you holidaying in the south, this is another way to see the mainland. Targa New Zealand, the fastest and for many the most punishing Targa ever.
We're in downtown Queenstown, the finish of the 2014 anniversary Targa, the 20th anniversary. First time it's ever been in the South Island. They've had 800 Ks of special stages, 1,800 Ks of touring stages, and there have been loads of stories along the way. They're the tales of Targa. Here are a few of them. Welcome to Targa Rally 2014, a very special event, firstly because it's the 20th anniversary of Targa Rally in New Zealand, and secondly because it's the first time ever in the South Island. We've got 1,800 touring Ks and 800 special stage Ks. We're going from Christchurch, where we are now, to Dunedin, Invercargill and finishing up in Queenstown in 6 days' time. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
The second time through, so what tends to happen is the mind sort of goes back and it remembers, oh yeah, I remember this one. You know, we took this too slow. We take a bit of liberty here. So it was a T intersection with a little bit of an over vertical in it. We hit it probably about 180 Ks, and it was a bit more acute to the left once you could see past the intersection. We came down on the ground and right wheels off the road on the right hand outside. And because all you can do to try and keep the car pointing in the right direction is keep your foot down, drive it out of it, down the road on the grass, got control, ease back out onto the road again. By the time we did that, we were too hot into the next right, hairpin right. so this way, then that way, then this way. We got around it. There's a few of those though.
It was a flying finish, literally. I just came over the hill there, big. Apparently they're all saying it should have been a triple caution, but I don't know. It was just a bit of a dip and a jump, and we were heading along the road on the front two wheels. So we just drifted sideways and ended up over here. Very lucky we didn't roll. Apparently the guys said it was very spectacular. It was well worth the watch, but no, look, hey, nobody's hurt. Naomi's fine, I'm fine. Harry's fine, we'll fix it. And, you know, I won't win the 20th New Zealand Targa.
It looks like blowing a head gasket, so luckily enough there's two short stages, and the engine over temperature alarm came on as we were sitting waiting for that last stage. We managed to get some bottles of water and put it in the engine, so we got through that stage okay. The deal for us is to minimise time loss, get to tonight and fix it, and then come out fighting again tomorrow. But it's nice to have a little bit of a gap to be able to conserve and still be in a position where we can fight tomorrow.
You're right. Keep going. 197, yeah. Keep it going. Yeah. 97. 97. Yeah. Whoa, loose. Yeah. Watch the loose, man. Watch the loose.
We had so many problems last year that it was just really not what the car was capable of. It goes really well. It's good, you know, it's just good federal tyres and little bits and pieces that just make it nice to drive. The sequential gearbox just gives you confidence to really push, and if you need to and you really need to get slowed down, bang down a couple of gears and it's no drama. So if you can try and carry some confidence, then you can do some good times. So let's not forget, Tony was learning a new car. The other guys were learning new tyres, so, you know, like we probably had our stuff together today and didn't want to be a minute back. I'd rather be a minute up, but of course we've got problems and hopefully get them fixed.
I've been involved in Targa from day one. I'd had a lot of experience in track racing, circuit racing, over the years, and Mike John got me to come on the original committee, and I just fell in love with it as soon as I got involved.
Choice of weapon, a 635. We used to see quite a few of them around circuit racing or street circuits. Why is that the choice here?
I was involved with the 635s in the mid-80s. I worked on Kent Bajent's Group A 635 and then the JPS 635s. Loved the cars, fell in love with them. I'm a real 635 nut, I guess you could say.
Reasonably well balanced, but a little heavy, aren't they?
Very heavy, yeah. That is the issue, is weight. Weight is the big issue.
Just tell me a little bit about this and what you've done preparation-wise.
This car is actually a new car we built last year. It's an M6, so it's a twin cam. The other car I had was a single cam. It was a complete new build. It was a shell. It was an interesting story because my wife and I owned this car 20 years ago as a road car, and we got it back off the lady that we sold it to, and turned it into a race car.
And so who came up with the graphic design?
Well, that was my stupid idea. It was a great idea at the time, but once we started picking all these squares off with tweezers, my wife and I, it wasn't such a good idea. We always go into this event to finish. It's 5 days and you have to finish. There's no point being the fastest guy on the first 2 stages and ending up upside down in a paddock.
We've done a few Targas, sometimes together and sometimes with Jeff driving our older car. When we started Targa, we used a Rapier, which is a 4-cylinder car. Decided we needed a bit more grunt, so we built up this Targa for the job.
And Tiger is? Tell me about the detail of this.
It's a Sunbeam Alpine, so kind of a Sunbeam sports car, and they just dropped an enormous V8 into it.
A 302 Ford?
Yeah.
So how do you end up in terms of balance with that? Is it a little heavy in the front?
No, when Sunbeam made this modification, they built about 8,000 of these cars. They pushed the engine as far back as they could, so it's actually got quite a good weight balance. It's just pretty short in the wheelbase. That's the tricky bit on the corners.
Dad's giving me a lot of advice, and most of it is stay off the brakes and come into the corners easy.
The brakes are ineffective really in this car, so we have to be a little bit smooth in our driving.
Aspirations for the event?
Just to finish, to really have a good time and finish. Yeah, we're not really out to win much, but we want to go as hard as we can, but not take risks so that we don't finish.
I've owned this car for about 16 years. It's been racing with various members in the Fiat Club up in Auckland and Waikato for probably 20 years. And I don't know, it's something different. It's a replica of what run the World Rally Champs in 77, 78 and 80. It's even got Walter Roll written on the side. I'm a poor stand-in for him. So,
what's your history in the event and what's the appeal of the event to you?
I just love the challenge of it, the team, the mechanics and actually getting through it. I've done 12 Targas, co-driven. This car's done 5 or 6. Done it in a few different things, a 350Z Nissan, a Honda, but my heart was in the classics, so I went back. So I actually crashed this one mildly in 2010. I went through a fence, and that was all right, but then I hit a plough in the field. So it's had a rebuild since then, and it's come up well.
Not the best of communication with our parts we'd put on the car. I knew I had new brake pads. Didn't realise that they were unbedded, as we've bedded pads in for every car that we race generally. And I knew straight away with such a short time up to the start of the stage, as soon as I took off and used the brakes in the first couple of corners, just had massive brake shutter at the front, so I basically knew what was going on. And then as we just persevered with it, and as I was going down the other side, it just pinched the rears, going onto a corner, just the brake imbalance, and turned me around, clipped the bank, flipped it over, back on its wheels and restarted it and carried on. So realistically, not too much time lost, but subsequent stages, of course, we're not quite on our game, given a little bit of superficial damage, but the car's still strong and we're okay.
So is it driving like it's bent, or is it driving like it's still straight?
The first couple of stages after the accident, I had to put up with a tow-out issue going on the left front, which we've rectified for the last one. But the last 2 stages have been rather fast. I was missing my rear wing, and the back of the car wasn't really letting me go much more than about 180. So I've given up a little bit of time to Gavin and possibly to Martin Dippy, but hey, it's a long way to go.
We're at end of special stage 5 yesterday. We got airborne coming through a dip in the road. It was like a Ford. We were pretty much flat out, and when we went up in the air, the back end went up. We come down, back tyre hit the gravel, went sideways, went backwards, took out a tree and a couple of concrete fence posts, and ended up facing backwards.
Okay, so a lot of damage to the back end and a little to the side. Race tape's a wonderful thing, though, isn't it?
Fantastic stuff. The service crew worked half the night with one of those jacking out all those panels at the back. This morning we just all taped it all up with 5 rolls of white tape, which is looking a little bit tidier, but not mint anymore.
I'm a Ford nut, but really the challenge was thrown down by the guy with the map, Mike Lowe, the little Tiddler class, 0 to 1400. He said he owns it. $1,000 to whoever wins it was enough of an incentive to get me to front in the car that we last used in 1996. It's all pretty factory type stuff in there. It's an honest 0 to 1400cc car. The biggest money's on the pistons. Everything else is factory Ford. Early pre-crossflow head, slightly later model bottom end, but nothing you couldn't build in prior to 1970 anyway.
Now, given that you can't go fast, what are your tactics?
Never lift your foot, never put your bear down.
It's 2008 CLK 63 AMG Black Series. It was the car they made as a special edition. There were only 150 of these right-hand drive ones made, and we bought this one new and for Targa, ripped it out, caged it, both seats, and it's pretty much a factory car. We've used it in several Targas. Had a little time out for a few years and sat in the Tony's Highlands Park Museum in Cromwell while I had some eye operations, but we're back here now and plugging on. Yes, it is heavy, but I'm heavy, and it's very safe. But it's a very well set up car. It's like a DTM chassis and things, it's all adjustable, but it's very nice to drive. It wants to go around corners, rear wheel drive, it's heterosexual as we say, and it's just fabulous sound. The sound of the engine is just delicious.
Jason, I noticed at the start line yesterday there was a fair amount of smoke coming out, blue smoke. Didn't look great, and then later on when we heard on the grapevine that you'd blown an engine, it didn't sound surprising, but it wasn't, was it?
No, one actual fact happened was the oil pressure switch had broken off the back of the motor. It must have been sort of starting to leak, but it actually broke off during the stage, which dumped all the oil out of the car. And we thought we'd actually blow on the motor because of the same symptoms as last year, so we shut it down, and luckily the motor's fine. We got the $20 part from Repco, and we're back in the race.
How much time have you lost?
Oh, we're like 17 minutes down now. We lost 4 or 5 stages yesterday. So.
How disappointing is that? Because you were right in contention there, weren't you?
Oh, a lot of time and effort goes into this, and we were hoping for good things this year. So yeah, pretty disappointed.
We'd been trying to take it reasonably easy to keep the tyres safe for the rest of the event, and I decided to just go a bit quicker on that stage, but it was doing nothing silly. Changed from 3rd to 4th at 6,500 revs as normal, and the engine just died dead, and blue smoke pouring out of the back in the mirrors. We thought, God, the engine's lunched itself, pulled over, blue smoke pouring out of the exhaust. It wasn't running, but just coming out, so we thought the engine was just molten inside. Anyhow, tried to start it, was locked, so that was that. Towed it into Oamaru, lovely guy, garage. We started to open up everything and turned the engine over with the spark plugs out, and water flew out of every cylinder. We said, where did the water come from? And a water jacket on the gasket had come through, got into the inlet manifold, filled all the cylinders with water, snuffed the engine out, and the blue smoke was glycol burning. So a dear old guy in a pensioner flat had a Ford Fairlane, a gasket set for a 302 Windsor, put it on, and it's running like a clock.
Well, this car was a car made by Maserati factory in 2003, and they were actually built for a race series, so they were set up as a race car. So we've had to adapt this car to do rallies, and we've been doing rallies in it for quite a while, and it's going very well.
Lots of horsepower, not a lot of torque. What are the characteristics of it as a driver's car?
Well, it's got the what some people would regard as a negative, the flappy handles, but I find it very, very good. And it's got plenty of torque. It actually goes very well. You can always be in a higher gear than what you probably naturally want to be in. But it pulls well, and it's got plenty of power.
Almac originally started off doing Lotus 7 replicas, and then they moved on to an AC copper replica. The Sabre was the first body shell that he designed from scratch. So space frame chassis, fiberglass body shell, Lexus V8 in the front, Toyota 5-speed gearbox, Jag rear end, lots of fiberglass, weighs in at about 1100 kgs, 200 kilowatts at the wheels, lots of fun.
Now you guys had a bit of a moment. What happened?
Yeah, special stage 2. Yesterday we were about 30 k's into the stage. There's lots of gravel on the road. We went into a corner a little bit hot. I locked up the fronts and I thought I'd grab the throttle at the same time. And turns out the throttle was jammed open, so we went way too hot, mounted a bank, ripped off the front skirt, pulled the front wheel out of the left-hand corner, and our day was over.
Lee, mate, you have had a lovely excursion today. Tell us about this here.
Stage 7 on the first day, and you've done thousands of corners during the day, and this one bit us. We just, I don't know, too hot, too late braking, and put a little bit of bias to the back. She went around the corner, but way too hot. Hit a water table on the outside, whacked the back right wheel, stuffed that, and that whipped the car around. The right front wheel went into the bank, that stuffed the right front, but it flicked the car right around, and as you can see from this shot, we're actually going horizontal, levitated about 1.5 metres off the ground, still going down the road in the right direction now, but sideways, at probably about 40 mile an hour at this point. Unfortunately, when it came down on the back left wheel, that stuffed the back left, and then it finished off in the bank again with the front left, and that stuffed that as well. That's just after the first hit, and then she went to that, and then as it came back down again,
yeah,
that's all the digging the tar seal out with so it stuffed all the rims. A bit further on, and that's pretty much where it lay to rest. She certainly needs a transplant now. She's been bored, bellied and rolled plenty of times. I think it could do with a new shell.
Tamarinu is my hometown. I was born and raised there, and I lived there until my early 20s when I moved to the States. And I've lived in the States for 30 plus years now. I live in Florida, but I still look at New Zealand as home in many ways, and I enjoy coming back, and I love coming back for this event. I mean, the roads here are just spectacular and the conditions are just great. The first stage today, we've had some transmission issues, which we've had to change now. We're having to learn to drive, scratching my stomach and rubbing my head at the same time, because I have to shift down with my paddle and up with my lever, which is not the way it's meant to be. So it's a little bit of excitement. But the tight stage, the one right over above Dunedin, where I thought we'd really struggle against the four-wheel drives, we're only a second behind Glenn, so that was quite good. The last stage, I still think we would have lost time to him, although we think we came through there quite a bit quicker than we had. We nearly caught Martin through there, so, that was 30 kilometres, we'd nearly caught him. We're doing okay, as long as we don't do anything stupid, and as long as we can keep the gearbox to hold up till the end, that's going to be the next challenge. We're not going to catch Glenn unless he makes a mistake, and we've got a big gap over the rest of the field. So, the goal now is just to hold the car together and stay to the end, and maybe fortune will fall our way, and Glenn will have a little bit of a problem, get a flat or something. Don't want him to crash. Just want to have a flat tyre would be nice, just to let us catch up.
You haven't thought of having a word in his ear and trying to psych him out yet?
No, but I'm not beyond trying to bribe him. I guess I could go over and offer him a bit of cash, see if he'd just want to slow down for a little while.
I'll get a good co-driver, so it cost him a hell of a lot, I can tell you that much. At the moment, the pressure is just making sure we do everything right so that we keep the car reliable. We have some margin to play with, which means that at a time, if the stage is not going well, sometimes you can't, it's undescribable. It's about the flow of a stage, and if it's not working for you, we have an advantage so that we can back off. When it's working for us, we push on. And we did in the last stage, and it was a blast.
Yeah, watch the inertia, buddy.
When you get that bit of margin and a wee bit of comfort, that's generally when you make the errors, isn't it?
Between stages, I'm thinking of Gilly last year at 7 minutes and broke down. Like countless motorsport stories where the guys way out in front should be easy and it's not. Richard Mason broke a gearbox on the power stage of NZRC Rally when he had a ginormous lead. So you can't get complacent, because complacency will cost us this event, and we're not going to be complacent.
Well, hey, it's a 5-day event, so we decided to try and go for the reliability out of it. It's not the fastest car, but we're doing a good job. I wasn't expecting to be third by now, We just thought we'd hang in there until Saturday and see where we were, but I'm pretty happy. Yeah. We're just going to keep on pushing like we are. We can't catch these guys. They've got some rockets in front of us, but we'll keep pushing, keep them honest, because you can't back out of it. You've got to still push along. So reliability is going to be a big thing, and we think we have a package to get to it.
Brandon, I had a look at this car and we wandered past, and it's a lovely, bright-coloured Valiant Charger, and then we looked under the bonnet and you haven't done anything. 265 Hemi. What's going on, man?
Oh, it's just we're trying to keep things simple, so we don't have to put too much time and effort into fixing it during the Targa, so it's just really check the oil and back into it.
What's the guts in terms of how competitive it can be? You got plenty of torque, but have you got enough horsepower?
Oh, we're getting along the straights here, we're sitting on about 170. We're happy at that, and everything else is 150, 160 through a few of those flowing corners quite nicely, and plenty of torque getting there.
Why did you choose this?
I've always held the Chargers in high regard. My father said, whatever you ever do, don't ever get a Valiant Charger. First thing I did when he passed away was go and get one.
You haven't done a Targa before. Why do you want to do the Targa?
I've always held the Targa in high regard. I find it to be the holy grail of motorsport. I mean, you get to know a track going around it a few times, but things coming at you at high speed, not knowing what's over the corner, that's something a bit different.
A bit concerned bringing the event to the South Island for the first time in 20 years, but we've been so well received. The roads are wonderful, the people are awesome, the facilities are great. Everyone's just really embraced the event, so it's great to expand it and bring it into a new audience. But I think the South Island has been well renowned for wonderful roads for years, and certainly different to what we've been used to in the North Island. And yes, they are a bit faster and flowing, and that in itself has been a challenge. So the South Islanders have said, hey, we can take it to the North Islanders. The North Islanders wanted to come down and have a look and have a go. No one's driven these roads before, so the level playing field is good. 20th celebration of our event, so 3 years in the planning, and we're here with huge smiles on our face.
The event has been running for 20 years and only one driver has brought the same car and entered and completed the event for all 20 years. Mike Lowe and the little Fiat Abarth. What's brought you back 20 years in a row, mate?
Well, we thought we'd do it 1 year, then we'd do it 2 years, then 5, then 10 and 15. It's a magnificent event, and there's nothing like it in the world as far as I'm concerned. And look, rather than circuit racing where you just have 8 laps of everything and then 2 hours of nothing, Targa is 12 hours a day, fully intense for 6 days. It's brilliant.
There's not many places in the world you can get 800 Ks of special stages as good as this on tarmac, isn't it?
Oh, no. We're so lucky. I broadcast to the world, anybody who'd care to listen all around the world, bring your cars to New Zealand. This is the best event ever.
So when are you going to get a big grunter and bring that back and have a go at overall?
Well, I often get asked that. The thing is that, punching above your weight's kind of satisfying. And our crew here, we work on our cars 50 years old this year. And, we catch Porsches and we beat Evos and all that sort of stuff. And quite frankly, it's a wonderful feeling.
Halfway through, the car's holding up, and are you?
The car's okay. We've had a few little dramas. Very, very fast roads here, not suited to our car at all. Although the Lunnock Castle stage today at Dunedin, we did get it up on 2 wheels a few times, I must say. So it's very, very hard on a small car, but we're going to get to the end. And we're fine. We're 20 years older than we were 20 years ago. But we'll be here at the end. I do hope that.
Well, story of the day on Friday is Tony Quinn has managed to get that Lamborghini back in racing shape and back on the track. Nice to see you back, mate. Where'd you get the bits?
We stole bits from another car, to be fair. It was a demo car, which is short for demolish.
So was it mostly body bits, or did you do some mechanical damage as well?
It's like anything. When you start taking bits off, there was more damage than we thought. But, drive shafts, frame, I don't know, bits and pieces. There was a fair bit, radiators. Yeah.
Don't you love the kind of event, though, that you can do that and still hop back in and have a bit of fun?
Yeah, I do, but I'd love to hop back in and win, but I don't think I'll be doing that.
Yeah, we only just got the car on the road about 1 day before Targa, and we actually hadn't driven the car on the road at all before we started this event. So it's been a learning curve for us, and to get the car, keep it going and working out what it's going to do and not do. So
So you've done the event before in minis, you say, right? And so you chose an M3. What was that choice based on? You liked them or you thought it would be a good car?
Wife said she was sick of waiting for us to be at the end of the event. She wanted us to come home a bit earlier, so I said we need more power for that. And she said, yeah, buy something a bit more grunty then. It's a real challenge. I mean, for us, we like to come in and have a giggle and, just have a good time. And, it's a real challenge for us to get to the end for, two old blokes. So it is, it's a real challenge to get there, and that's what we aim for.
Talking to Richard Schooler, a man you may know better from motorcycles a few years ago, but in the Targa, what's the appeal, mate?
Speed, it's a great week away. I've really stuck at it for many, many years just because it's a wonderful week out of life and to go and do this sort of stuff. Beating cars, wasting petrol. Well, we're the wankers in the Rotary, but to be fair, it's actually growing on me. I really love it. Enjoy the Rotary very much when we get it working right, which hasn't been this week, but pretty cool. The turbo in this car actually gives it heaps of torque and it really drives off the corners well. We've actually been out of the rally for a day and a half now, just with a lot of issues going on. I've been with a guy in Dunedin called Mike Lynn, and he's actually built a lot more torque into the engine through the dyno work that he did yesterday. Really looking forward to getting out there with that today.
So it's 13B and ported and with a turbo. What sort of boost are you running?
Very low boost, about 12 pounds, but the horsepower now is about 430.
How does this feel day after day, just having roads all to yourself?
It's absolutely incredible, and you've really got to work on your fitness and your sleep and your diet and all that sort of stuff just to be sharp each day. And but we've had a day off yesterday, as you know, so we're fresh and ready to go. We're very, very fortunate to be here with the support of Contract Central from up in Cromwell and Total Oil, Four Guys Cars.
If you're a petrol head in Invercargill, what do? You come and have a look at the Burt Munro collection in a local hardware store, and you don't expect to run into a competitor. Rob, you have that beautifully bright coloured M3. What happened? What are you doing in a hardware store?
Well, we lost our aero yesterday, a wing on the back, and we basically rolled it at about 160 kilometres an hour. So we've knocked the wheels off, and it's no longer viable to run. So we thought we'd come and have a look at the magnificent collection down here, and what an amazing thing. We organised another car for tomorrow, so we'll be able to do the iconic Queenstown stage tomorrow. And so we thought we'd come and have a look, and we've heard so much about the hardware store here, the collection of Burt Munro, who my father actually knew. This is...
And you're an Invercargill boy?
I was born in Invercargill 58 years ago, and 1 year old I went to Auckland, and I've never returned. So this is back.
It is interesting when you come and have a look up close at some of this machinery. The one thing that you know absolutely for sure is that Burt Munro, at the very best, was eccentric and perhaps even a little nutty. To have ridden these bikes at the speeds he did, just incredible. You sit and you look at it and you think, how would you even sit on that at 70 or 80 k's an hour, let alone 135 miles an hour? Along with the competition cars in Targa in their many classes, there are also 75 tour cars. Now these are Aston Martins, Ferraris, Maseratis, all kinds of brilliant exotic machinery, and these guys, there are 75 of them, get the opportunity to drive all of the same stages, albeit behind a controlled pace car. But these guys on South Island roads are having an absolute ball. What for you is the purpose of the tour? Why are you on it?
Oh, it's a bit of fun, and get out and go a little bit more speed on the road. Something you'd like to be able to drive more often, of course we can't.
Targa is really something special. It's exceeded all our expectations. The camaraderie and fun we're having, the people we're meeting just makes it so special.
Our point of the tour is that we've got 75 people travelling with us in some very exotic machinery that normally wouldn't have an opportunity to stretch your leg on closed road situations. So the object really is that we hope that someday they will then move up to the competition after having a taste of Targa.
This group's good. 20th anniversary, first time in the South Island. I mean, you couldn't miss it.
Oh, the roads are amazing down here. They're fast, they're open, lots of blind brows, good quality surfaces. You couldn't wish for more.
It's pretty impressive. We're enjoying it. A lot of country we've never seen before.
It's good on a racetrack. These roads are brilliant, and just absolutely lucky we can do it.
Better than I ever expected. So no, we're loving it.
Hank, you're from Washington State. That's almost in Canada. What are you doing here?
It's almost Canada, but it's not quite anyway. At least we're a little bit warmer. We're playing down here, so we've been down to this event a couple of times. Kelly and I drive the 911, and we've had a lot of fun down here.
What's the appeal of Targa for you?
Different kind of racing. We do a lot of road racing in the States and other types of racing in the States, but we don't have anything like this at all in the States.
Does anybody?
No, there's nothing like this in the States. This is definitely all its own, and one of those things that's on a bucket list for a lot of guys in the States, and I'm happy to get to check it off multiple times. The roads are awesome. The mix of roads this year has been just great. Some of the amazing open runs to nice tight corners, so it's been excellent fun.
We haven't done Targa New Zealand. We actually lined up in the Monaro a couple of years ago and broke the camshaft on the way to the start line. Have done the Silver Fern though, done all of the Silver Fern, so done plenty in New Zealand.
Here's your 100 your way, a square right.
We actually love the Kiwi roads. We love the way the service guys look after us. It's in all seriousness, I'd rather race in New Zealand than Australia. The South Island roads are just unbelievably good. Like, they are so cool.
And this car?
The car loves the roads. I just need a bigger heart. I'm not game to trust the crests. I set a notes to be sensational, but having said that, I think it probably would spoil the event to some degree.
Porsche 996 Turbo that was running well in contention. And you've got a little issue here. They don't go too well without fuel, do they?
No, but we've got a few plans, a few backup plans. So, yeah, good mate John here's come up with a solution. A bit of brass and a bit of this and a bit of that.
Kiwi ingenuity?
Well, we haven't got it going yet, so I'll tell you in about 5 minutes. Yeah.
How much time do you think you've lost?
We've lost about a night because we were pretty relaxed actually, and we thought we'd just fix it in the morning. So, yeah, we didn't have any other options. So.
Fair enough. Any parts that you need to get, or are you just having to make everything as you go?
No. Repco and ESL just around the corner of sourced those bits and pieces. So, yeah, we're pretty much sorted.
What's it like to drive in?
It's a huge thrill sliding the car around out there on the open road. Something you don't get to do normally. So, yeah, we're loving it.
We've given it death now for 3.5 days, and our little 1000cc motor's finally gone bang, we think. But spare motor's going to go in, the boys are here, we're loading up, and we'll be back probably in about 2 hours, maybe less, and finish the day. Road trade. It had to happen, I guess. 3.5 days of blisteringly fast South Island roads. 185 kilometres an hour and 8,000 revs, it's going to happen. So the motor, unfortunately, has cried enough. So now, of course, as we always do, we carry a spare. The spare's going in, so the boys are working hard. The true heroes of Targa over there, I might add. After us drivers break it, they fix it, so it's fantastic. We'll be out of here, I'd say, in probably about an hour. We'll be on the road again, that's our hope. And by God, we're going to get to the end. It's not over yet.
Ask the crew, you get a totally different story.
Wow! It's been a development to get to where it is today. One of the reasons we're retiring the car is that it's just been too hard, you know. So, and we have to make all the parts now. So the crankshaft's made. And disappointed? Yeah, of course. Surprised? No, not really. We gave it death. I mean, here's what I love. What do you think is more fun? Driving a car that's engineered to do 300 kilometres an hour at 200, or driving a car that's engineered to do 80 at 180. Let me tell you, I'll pick the latter every freaking time.
Last 10th day of the anniversary Targa, and we're in and around Queenstown. We're doing the iconic Crown Range twice, and right up the top of the lake to Glenorchy. Who's leading? Well, Glen Inkster still in control of the event, leading overall by over 3 minutes. Martin Dippy leads the two-wheel drive, and Mark Kirk-Bernard is leading the classics.
So much fun. Such a novelty not having to worry about cars coming the other way.
Your event been pretty good?
It's been fabulous. It's had its testing moments, but they say you're never the same after you've done it.
We need to do a quick gathering when we get to Glenorchy. Don't run off so we can organise all the jet boating and some of the exciting stuff there. I know you'll still be buzzing after the road, and then hopefully we'll give you another bit of excitement.
If it seems like we're a long way from anywhere, we are. Glenorchy, right at the top of Lake Wakatipu. There's only one road in here though and one out, and since the guys raced up here, we've got to wait for everybody to get in. That means 2 hours stuck here. Time for a little R&R on the last day before the last stage.
I won't be going to jet boat. No, I've got a jet car. I wouldn't be a jet boat. I've never liked the water. When you get brought up in Scotland, you see the polar bears at the side. So nobody goes in the water in Scotland.
It's played out very much like last year, and so to me, some of the guys are highly modified cars. It's an endurance event, so they've got to get to the end, and so you can have the horsepower, but if you can't actually make it stick and make it last, then it's no good.
The car's gone fine. We've had a fan belt go on the first stage, and we lost about a minute and a little bit there. But since then, we've just been charging hard and looking after the car as best we can.
We had some good pace and we really wanted to start well so that we can put the pressure on others and maintain the gap. As it's turned out, we have a little mechanical problem today, and to have a nice lead has made it quite possible just to cruise through the last stage. And you know, we won't be setting any timesheets alike going back to Queenstown.
To win, the co-driver with Glen Inkster.
And as the last cars reach the finish line in downtown Queenstown, after over 800 Ks of special stages, those were the tales of Targa. Great stories, great motorsport.